This is what I'm talking about. See, we don't think about that kind of stuff because we're so focused on just trying to get every little job that we can. But you have to start thinking about things in terms of maximizing profitability, because the more money you have, the more that you're able to allocate to other avenues. In this video, I'm talking about 3 ways that you can increase your ticket prices on your striping jobs. That way you can make more money. But before that though, if you're interested in parking lot striping and specifically how to price jobs, upsells, marketing, and much more, be sure to check out the How to Stripe course. It will be the first link in the pinned comment section and the description. 68% of y'all guys watching the channel are not subscribed. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell icon. Let's get to the video. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 ways to increase the ticket prices on your parking lot striping jobs. This information is going to help you out, especially if you're wanting to make more money in your business, increasing your profitability, which is going to allow you to allocate the money that you make into other avenues. Let me say this. There are other people who are in the same exact industry that would probably disagree with the way that we do things. A lot of people think that you've got to be extremely proficient in generating a substantial amount of income with one service before you integrate another service and start generating money off of that. For example, you've got to be generating $200,000, $300,000 on striping alone before you integrate seal coating or pressure washing, so on and so forth. And I can understand where people are coming from whenever they are talking about generating revenue and income in their business, but that's not what I did at first. And what I've done has worked for me. We started off with parking lot striping, then we added pressure washing, sign installation, wheel stop installation, crack filling, and seal coating. We added all those services. I didn't wait until I was generating 100,000 in striping alone before I added seal coating into our business. Because if a customer has an asphalt parking lot and then they're looking for a contractor that does seal coating and striping, why would I pass up that opportunity simply because I don't offer seal coating? And then if it's a substantial job, why would I try to subcontract out the seal coating and then make a fraction of the revenue off of this project? I don't want to deal with getting a seal coating set up. To me, it just doesn't make sense. That's why, whatever the case may be, I'm going to try to offer the solutions to my customers. No matter what it is, we're going to try to do it because we want to generate the most amount of money as possible. Number one, I want to say this. When you're doing your estimates and you're on these properties, you're doing a site walkthrough with the property owner, look for things that haven't been striped or serviced yet that could pose safety concerns. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you're on a property and it's got striping already, and then there's curbing or wheel stops, anything like that that are not striped yet, look for those things. If there are potholes that are on the property, look for those things and then document them. And then after you document them on the estimate, what you could do is take a few minutes to look up some studies in relation to how many slip and falls are there on a business every year in relation to curbing. Then you can find some studies in relation to potholes. How often are customers hurt? Are there any lawsuits as a result of them being hurt on the property because they fell on a pothole? Then what you can do is you can compile that data, give it to the customer, and then what that allows them to do is not only just see a quote, but it really positions you as a contractor that does their due diligence to make sure that you're offering a solution to the problem. Remember, everyone else is just going to send off an estimate. And then what you have to do is do what everyone else is not doing and then capitalize on that thing. Whereas I'll take a few brief moments and then do a little bit of research depending upon the ticket price. I mean, if it's a $3,000 job, I'm probably not going to take that long. But if we start getting into $5, $10, and $15,000 worth of work that I could get in a short period of time, I'm going to do whatever I can to try to differentiate myself apart from the people that I'm competing against, because I want to win the job. Look for studies, look for data that you can attach in relation to the upsell. That way, when you put it on the estimate, you can attach some statistical data and say, hey, 53% of people that fall in potholes result in 12% of lawsuits. You see what I'm saying? Now, those are just generic numbers, but you understand what I mean. Put a little bit of extra emphasis into your quotes, and then look for those things that pose safety concerns. Because if you can prevent a customer from falling on their property that would result in a lawsuit, guess what? That's worth an extra $1,200. Then what you could do to the customer is say, hey, would you rather spend $1,200 now and then fix the problem? Or do you want to face a potential lawsuit in the future that could result in thousands of dollars if we do not get it fixed? And then when you frame your selling tactics like that, it makes all the difference. Number 2, focus on maintenance issues. If you're on a concrete parking lot that's very dirty and they only want striping, try to upsell pressure washing. I mean, you could upsell pressure washing and you can say, I can stripe this if it's dirty, but I'm not going to be able to give you a warranty because the surface has to be washed in order for the paint to maximize its longevity, right? But if you only do striping and then you don't do pressure washing, guess what? You have to trust another company to go out there and pressure wash. You have to subcontract them. And not only that, you have to mark up their prices in order to make money on it. And then before you know it, it's a gigantic headache. That's why we do everything. We do pressure washing, we do striping, crack filling, seal coating, repairs, all that stuff. We do that. Same exact thing. You know, if you're on an asphalt parking lot and there's potholes or there is a significant amount of cracks in the asphalt surface, then you could upsell that. Hey, in order for me to stripe this parking lot, we got to remove these cracks and this debris from the surface of this ground. And then if we're going to remove the debris from the surface of the ground, why don't we just seal the cracks and then prevent future water penetration? Then when you start positioning yourself as a contractor who's not desperate to make a sale, but you want to offer a legitimate solution to the customer, people can see that. That's what I was saying in the last video. When you don't have enough lead flow coming in, it puts you in a desperate position, and then the people you're trying to sell to can recognize that. I take the extra effort to put this type of information into my quotes because when they deal with me, they're going to get so much information that's accessible and at their fingertips. It would be a foolish decision for them to pick any other contractor other than us, because not only are we positioning ourselves as the subject matter experts, but we're also providing a legitimate quality solution to satisfy their needs for the long term. Focus on maintenance issues. Number 3, once you have done this, separate it into 2 estimates and give them an option to pick from. What happens is people try to put all of the upsells into the quote, and if it's the type of customer who wants a cheap solution and not a high quality solution, they're going to pick the cheapest option. Therefore, what you could do is you can give them a cheap option with just the base quote, and then you can give them a more expensive option, which is an alternate quote. Give them both options and then let them make the decision. That way they're able to assess the information and they can go, well, this estimate is an extra $2,000, but it offers more of a safety incentive to pick this option as opposed to going with this option. In my first year, the biggest customer that I had was about an $11,000 customer. It was a 3-story parking garage. And during the quoting process, man, I gave them a video presentation. I gave them a quote. I gave them a cheaper option, a more expensive option. The more expensive option had reflective material as well as, an additive to prevent slip and falls because it was in a garage. and the moisture from the air hits the ground, and it could be an unsafe situation. I gave them two options, and they picked the more expensive option, and I made an extra $2,000. And that's what I'm talking about. When you separate it into two different estimates, you're giving them options to pick from. And you have to understand that a lot of these companies are going to go with 3 contractors. Out of the 3, they're going to pick the least expensive ones. But if you give them 2 different quotes, and then you put a lot of effort into the quote, you put a lot of data and research and information, when they read your quote, you are going to position yourself a lot better than just some other contractor who doesn't care. You have to think about it. You have to think about this in terms of maximizing profitability. Let's say that you're servicing 20 parking lots a month. You're doing 5 jobs a week. Out of those 5 jobs, you give an upsell of $400. Let's say that you're generating out of the 20 estimates an extra $400 a week. Well, after you're generating that extra $400 a week, at the end of the month, that turns into $1,600. You multiply $1,600 times however long your season is. Before you know it, man, you've made an extra $15,000. And this is what I'm talking about. See, we don't think about that kind of stuff because we're so focused on just trying to get every little job that we can. But you have to start thinking about things in terms of maximizing profitability, because the more money you have, the more that you're able to allocate to other avenues. Man, if you can generate an extra $2 to $3 grand a month just in upsells, you can bring on another full-time worker. Or you could just run as lean as possible and then make more money for yourself and then just tuck that money back away in a savings account. Anyways, y'all, thanks for watching. We will see you in the next video.